Hello and welcome to Coding Demos. In this tutorial, we're going to learn a feature that is part of the Android alert dialog, and that is a multi-choice item. So what is the multi-choice item? Well, let me open up the emulator and show you basically the app that we will build in this tutorial. So as you can see here, I have a button that says make an order. So you click on the button, it will show you a dialog, and inside the dialog you can see that there are a list of items, and next to each item there is a checkbox. So using the multi-choice item, it will allow you to select items. You can select multiple items just by checking the box next to each item. So for example, let's say I've chosen these three items, and when you click on OK, then I'll show those selected items in the text view. Now let's say, for example, if you want to clear the selection, let's say when you click on the button again, you want to clear the selection from the list. What you can do is you can just click on the clear all button, and when you click on that, it will clear all the selection from the list as well as from the text view right here. So to double check, you can click on the make order button again, and you can see all the checkboxes have been unchecked. Okay, so you got the idea. That's great. Now let's open up Android Studio and start coding. So I'm going to name this multi-choice tutorial, and I'm going to leave everything as it is. Just click on next, and then click on finish. So build is complete. Now let's go to activity_main, and then I'm going to remove the default hello world text view. Next, I'm going to take a button. I'm going to place that at the top here, and then I'm going to take a text view and I'm going to place it in the center of the screen. I'm going to change the ID and the text for the button as well as for the text view. So for the button, I'm going to call it make an order. Okay, and then I'm going to change the ID from button to button order, and then I'm going to remove the text for the text view. I'm going to leave it as blank, and I'm going to change the ID to text view, let's say item selected. Okay, I'm going to extract the string resource. Click OK, and then I'm going to increase the text size for the text field. So I'm going to give it text size of 25 SP, and then I'm going to change the text style. So I'm going to give it italic. Okay, and I'm going to change the text color as well, color primary. So let's test the text and see how it looks like. So let's say test. I'll go to design. Okay, looks good. Let me just remove this text. Okay, so we're done with the activity_main. Let me reformat the code. Okay, now this one is done. We'll go to activity. We'll go to the main activity, and then we define the views. So we have a button. So I'm going to call it order, and then I have a text view, and then I'm going to call it item selected. Okay, now here I'm going to define the views. I'm going to initialize them. So it's order equals to that's button order, and then we'll do the same thing for the text. Item selected equals to text view. The same old stuff that we usually do, and the ID is r.id.tv item selected. Okay. Next thing is we need to provide the items that will be shown inside the list. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to resource, and then we're going to open up the values and look for the strings.xml file, and that is, click on that. Next is I'm going to create a string array. So this string array will hold the values that will be shown in the item. So we do string array, and then we're going to call it shopping item. Okay, so I'm going to call it item. Okay, I'm going to duplicate that a few times. I think that's more than enough. Alright, I have the items, the shopping items inside a text file here. So I'm just going to copy this, I'm going to place it inside. So let me just do that, and then I'll show you guys the final output. Okay, so we have the items ready. Next thing is we need to declare a variable that will hold those items. So the variable will be will have a type of string array. So we do string array, and then we call it list items, and then I'm going to create another variable of a type boolean. That will be a boolean array, and that will basically hold the checked items. So I'm going to call it checked items. Another thing is we need to create an array list, and that array list will hold the items that the user have selected, the items that you checked inside the list. So the array list will hold those items. So it's array list of a type integer. It's not string, it's going to be integer, and let me tell you why later on. Then we go call it m selected items. Yeah, or let me just call it m user items. This so we can differentiate between each other. This is m user items equals to new array list. Oops. Okay, so we have this then already. Next is I'm going to inside the, before I set OnClickListener for the button, I'm going to pass the value of the list item. So list item equals to get resource dot get string array, and then we're going to look for the array that we've just created. So it's resource.array dot shopping items. So now we've got the list items ready. Next thing is we need to initialize the checked items, the boolean value. So do checked items equals to new boolean, and then here I'm going to pass the list item dot length. So whoa, sorry about that. So it's list items dot length. So what we did right here is the list items will hold the values inside the string array, and those values are the shopping items that you will see inside the list, and then the checked items will act as the checkboxes. So to know how many checkboxes that we need, well, we can get the size of the list item, and that's what we did right here. So list item dot length, so we get how many items inside the list, and then we're going to create a checkbox for them. So we have this ready. Next thing is we need to set an OnClickListener for the button. So when you click on the button, it will show the dialog. So we do m_order.setOnClickListener, new OnClickListener, the same old stuff. And then inside the onClick method, we're going to create a alertdialog.builder, alertdialog.builder, and we're going to call it mBuilder. Okay, let me just close this, just to give you guys extra room to see the code. So we have alertdialog.builder, we give it a name of mBuilder, equals to new alertdialog.builder. Let me just remove the extra parentheses. Okay, and then here I'm going to, for the context, we are in the main activity, so I'm just gonna pass in that main activity dot this and semicolon. Next is we're going to set a title for the dialog, so it's mBuilder dot set title, and for the title will be, let me just open up the emulator and see the title. Okay, the title is items available in a shop. Items available in a shop. So we have the title ready. Next thing is we need to set the multi-choice item. So your mBuilder dot set multi-choice items. So we have the multiple types, right? So we're going to choose the first one. So we can see that this multi-choice items it's asking us to pass the array items that will be shown in the list, and then the booleans, and those are the checkboxes which we have right here, and then the multi-choice click listener. And that what is that is when the user clicks on any of the checkboxes, what will you do? So that's the on-click listener for it. So we're just going to pass those values here. So the first thing is the items inside the list, those are the list items. Next thing is the checked items, and those are the booleans, and then we're going to set the on-click listener for it. Okay, so let's give it a semicolon. So here I have the on-click method. So when the user check an item, then we will do the operation here. So you can see that we have the dialog interface, and then we have the position of the item that was checked, and then the boolean, which is to check whether this item has been checked or not. So let me just change the I to position. I prefer to name it as a position instead of I, and therefore the boolean is checked. Okay. Now it looks much better. Okay, so we have the position, we have the checked. So the first thing you need to do inside the onClick method is you need to see if the item is checked. So we do f is checked. That's the first thing you need to do. So if the item is checked, that's good. Next is we need to check if the item is not in the list. Which list? The string array. You can see on the top here, we've created an array list, right? So this array list will hold the items that the user have actually selected them. So what we're doing right here is we are checking if that checkbox was checked. That's good. Now we'll go to the second condition. If the item that the user checked is not included inside this array list. If it's not included, then I have to add it inside the list. If it is included, then I have to move it, which means the reason why I'm doing this is because to avoid duplicating the data inside the array list. Okay, so here if it's checked, then we're going to do another condition. So if the selected, this one is the user items, user items dot contain what? Contain the position. So we're saying if the current item, and that is the position here, is not part of the list, then please add it to the list. So user items dot add, and then we pass in the position. That's good. Okay. Now we're done with this. That's fine. Next thing is we need to check if the item is not part of the list. Right? So if here we're checking if the item is not in the list, then add it. Else, so I just want to keep up with the parentheses here. Okay. So if it's checked and if it's not part of the list, then we do this. If the okay. Next here inside the else, we're going to do user items dot remove. Then we pass in the position. So if it's checked, and then if the item is not part of the list, then you add that. Else, you remove the item from the list. Okay. So this one is for the onClick, and this is for the onClick of the button. Okay. Next thing is we need to set the mBuilder. We want to allow the user only to dismiss the dialog when they click on either buttons. So mBuilder.setCancelable, and then we pass in false. Next thing is we need to do mBuilder.setPositiveButton. Set positive button, and then we're going to pass in the label. We're going to give it a name of OK, that's the label, and then we do an OnClickListener. Okay, so next inside the onClick method of the button, we're going to create an empty string. Then we're going to call it item, and then we're going to initialize to when we're going to make an empty string. So this item, because right now we're going to loop through the list item here. We're going to loop through the muser items, and when we loop through them, we're going to set each item inside this item here. So this item will hold each item inside the list. Let me explain that to you guys. So we do the for loop, and then we're going to create integer. So I'm just going to int. Okay, this is for the position. I'm just going to put in which. So integer I equals to 0, and then I is less than the muser, that's the ArrayList, muser.size, then I plus plus. Okay, so here I'm going to do item equals to what? Item plus, we're going to look for the original item list, and this is the one, list items. So list items, and then we're going to pass in the muser items dot get the position, and that's the I. Okay, so what we did right here is we first loop through the array list. Okay, and then like I mentioned, we've defined an empty string and we give it a name of item. So this item will hold the individual items inside the list. So we do item equals to item plus the list item is actually the original list, and the muser item is the list that contains the user items which he has selected. So we do list item, and then we're going to pass in the position that was the position of that item inside the list. Okay. Next is we need to do another check. Another check is we need to make sure that the last item, so, okay, you can see in the emulator, let's say I choose onion, sausage, milk, and garlic. That's fine. You click on OK. You can see that between each item there's a comma, right? So except at the last item, there is no comma. So what we want to do right here is we need to do an if check. We need to make sure that the item is not actually the last item inside the array list. So if this item is not the last item inside the array list, then we're going to append a comma at the end of that item. So since onion is not the first item in the list, since onion is not the last item in the list, that's why there is a comma at the end. But you can see garlic is the last item in the list, that's why there is no comma. So that's what we're going to do right now. So we got the individual item from the array list. Next we're going to do if the item, if I, which is the position, is not equal to the m user items dot size minus 1. If the index of the item inside the array list, if the index of the item inside the m user items is not the last item in the list, then I'm going to append a comma at the end. So we're going to do item equals to item plus, then we're going to put in comma. Okay, so this item is basically the original item that hold each item of the list when we did loop through them using the for loop. Okay, next, outside the for loop, what we're going to do is we're going to call the text view that we've created m, and that is, let's look at it from the top. Text view m item selected, m item selected dot set text, and then right here we're going to pass in the item. Okay, now we're done with the OK button. Next thing is we need to handle the other button, and that is the dismiss and the clear all. So the dismiss is basically some basic stuff. We're only going to dismiss the dialog. We're not going to do some fancy operation around here. So let me just create the, okay, this is the parentheses for the OK button. Okay, let me just put it enter, and then mbuilder.set, that's negative button, and then I'm going to pass in a label of dismiss, and it's new OnClickListener. There's a semicolon. Okay, right here I'm going to dismiss the dialog. So I'm going to call dialog.setDismiss, and that's basically it. We're done with the negative button. Next thing is we need to go to the neutral button. So the neutral button is basically, in our example, the clear all button. So we're going to do mbuilder.set neutral button, and then I'm going to pass in the label as clear all, and then I'm going to set a new OnClickListener. Okay, here what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the selection. So how I'm going to do that? Well, first I'm going to loop through the checked items. So we'll do for loop, and then we're going to call, okay, let me just change the position of which. So I'm going to call the integer I equals to 0, and then I is less than the checked items, which is the boolean array. This is the one, checked items. So we do checked items, dot length, and then with I plus plus. Okay, so we're going to loop through them, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do checked item, and then give it the position, which is the I, and then I'm going to pass in false. So false means unchecked everything. So I'm looping through. You see the for loop? I'm looping through the items inside the boolean, which is the checked items, and then I'm going to initialize them as false. So check item, pass in the position, which is based on the index here, and then I'm going to initialize that as false. So once I do that, next I'm going to clear the items inside the user list. So m user items dot clear, yeah. Next thing is I'm going to clear the items inside the text view. So m selected item, m item selected, that's the text view, dot set text, and I'm going to clear that. Okay, so I'm making everything as false, which means everything is unchecked. I clear the items inside the array list, and then I set an empty text for the text view. Next, I'm going to show the dialog. So it's alert dialog m dialog equals to m builder dot create, and then m dialog dot show. Okay. So let me just extract the string resource for this. Oop. No, I'm not declaring anything final. I'm just extracting the string resource. So extract. Now this is, I'm gonna call this dialog title. And for the label, should be okay label. This is dismiss label, dismiss label, and at the end here, clear all. Come on, clear all label. Okay, so we have the dialog showed up. I'm showing the dialog at the end. I did it for the neutral, for the negative, and for the positive. And then when the user clicks on the dialog, so if the item is checked, and if the item is not part of the list, I'm going to add that, else I'm going to remove it. Okay. Alright, now let's give it a run and see how it looks like on the emulator. On that. And click OK. Okay, so the app is running. So you click on the make order. Alright, so we have the items. So I choose the onion, sausage, milk, garlic. Let's add beef as well. Click OK. So we have them here. Except is I didn't set the position of the text view. I need the text to be centered, but I haven't done that. We'll do it later on. So this is done. So let me just remove them. So I'll clear all. Okay. So let's do onion, sausage, milk. Okay, we have the commas separated by them. And you can see milk, which is the last item in the list, doesn't have a comma. Okay, so let me remove milk. Click OK. Oh. You can see here the milk is not being removed. Okay, that's one issue. Okay, let's look into that. Okay, so the first thing, let's just center the text. So here I'm in activity underscore main, and this is the text view. So I'm going to do Android, and then gravity, and it should be center. This is done. Now the other thing is, for the item is not being removed. Okay. So there must be something right here. So if its item is checked, do this. Okay, so if the M user items that contain the position, you do that. And I'm adding it to the list. And this is the M user, which is the ArrayList. That's fine. Otherwise, I'm going to remove that. Oh, okay. I think I know the issue here. The M user dot FM user dot contain the position, and I'm going to remove that. So let's remove that here. So it's M user items dot remove the int, that is the position. Let's run that. Now let's click on it again. Let's add the items. Oh, another crash. Okay, invalid index. And remove position. Oh, why is invalid? If it's checked. Okay. Oh, else if, let me run that again. Let me stop it. Run that again. Okay, the app is running. Okay, so click on it again. So I have onion, sausage, milk, then garlic, beef. Click OK. Alright, so it's centered. So let me just remove the items. Okay, let me just remove beef. Alright, so the item is actually removed. That's good. So remove the garlic and let's say sausage. So I'm going to leave onion, milk in the list. Onion, milk is there. Alright, that's good. So let's say I have beef, olives. Let me just add all of them here. So I'm going to check all the items inside the list. Okay, so these are all the items. So you can see the last item is not separated by comma, and that's actually what we want. Now let's say if we want to dismiss the same basic stuff, I'm just dismissing dialog, but let's say I want to clear the selection. So I'll click on the clear all. Now you can see the text view has been cleared because I'm setting the text view as, where is it? Okay, yeah, I'm setting the text view as empty right here. So I'm clearing the items inside the array list, and then I'm setting an empty text for the text view. So if we go back to the dialog again, so click on the button. Okay, so you see all the items have been unchecked, and that's exactly what we want. Alright, so that's basically it for this tutorial. If you find this tutorial helpful, please give it a like, and if you want to see more of these awesome tutorials, please click on the subscribe button Thanks again for watching and happy coding.